Hey, welcome back. Brighton Beach Memoirs, assignment number 6. Now, you know the deal. We're gonna read, actually, I'll tell you right now, from the top of page 69 to the bottom of page 85. Please answer your questions. As always, if there's any little kids around, brothers or sisters, nephews or nieces, anybody, get them out of the room, please, or put on some earphones because there's going to be some Eugene conversations going on today. I don't believe they're as bad as they've been, but they're still not very good. So let's actually chat about that. That's one of the problems that the father has, although I'm not quite sure that the dad even knows that he has that problem. It's probably good because another problem that the father has, of course, is his heart. He's worried about having a heart attack because he has high blood pressure. Now, why does he have high blood pressure? Because, of course, he's got to take care of his sister-in-law and her 2 daughters, as well as his 2 sons and his wife. It's 1937. We found out recently that he just lost his second job, which is why he was so happy, not happy, but confident in the fact that his son, Stanley, his 18-and-a-half-year-old, that they could rely on his check. He makes $17 a week at a hat factory, but it turns out Stanley has lost his job, and that's another problem that the dad is about to have to find out about right now and add to his stress levels. Of course, there's Nora's problem, which he has already heard, and his advice to Nora was, don't go, don't join it, finish high school. But then we saw her stomp off because she's very immature and said she'll decide what she wants to do. So they got that problem out there. A side problem is we heard that there's all their relatives that are in Poland and Germany, and they're hopefully fleeing from the Nazis, so they might show up at any minute. So, yeah, welcome to the Jerome family and their crazy problems. Now, let's hope they can hold it together by being together. So let's go. Page 69. Stanley, it must be tough being a father. Everybody comes to you with their problems. Isn't that interesting? That's exactly what we were just talking about. Let me go back. You have to have all the answers. I don't know if I could handle it. Jack, stop trying to win me over. Just tell me the problem. Stanley, I got fired today. What? Don't get excited. Don't get crazy. Let me explain what happened. What did you do? You came in late. You were fresh to somebody. Were you fresh to somebody? I'm not fired yet. I can still get my job back. I just need you to help me make a decision. Jack, take the job back. I don't care what it is. This is not the time for anybody to be out of work in this family. Of course, Stanley doesn't know that Jack lost the second job. They have to have that money. Stanley, when I was 12 years old, you gave me a talk about principles, remember? All night you waited me to tell me this news? This is about principles, Pop. How long were you going to go without telling me? Will you at least hear my principles? All right, I'll hear your principles. Then you'll hear mine. Just sit back and let me tell you what happened, okay? Well, it was on account of Andrew, the colored guy who sweeps up. Jack sits back and listens. Okay, now we don't need to hear that story again. We have heard it. So we're going to shift over to Eugene upstairs, who's talking to the audience, which is, of course, an aside. We're hearing his true thoughts. Oh, gosh, let's be worried. Jack sits back and listens. Stanley sits with his head back to the audience, talking, but we can't hear him. Our attention is drawn to Eugene up in his room. Eugene to the audience. So Stanley began his sad story. Pop never said a word. He just sat there and listened. Stanley was terrific. It was like that movie, Abe Lincoln in Illinois. Stanley was not only defending his principles, he was defending the democracy and the United States of America. Pop must have been bleary-eyed because not only did he have to deal with Stanley's principles, Nora's career, the loss of his noisemaker business, how to get Aunt Blanche married off, and Laurie's fluttering heart. But at any minute, there could be a knock on the door with 37 relatives from Poland looking for a place to live. Finally, Stanley finished his story. Ha! Look at that. Eugene just explained everything I just did, and he did it much better. Remember, he wants to be a writer, and he should be. Remember, this whole book, this play, is him writing this to us. These are his memoirs. Stanley, so either I bring in a letter of apology in the morning, or I don't bother coming in. I know it's late. I know you're tired, but I don't want to do anything without asking you first. Jack, after a few moments of silence. Oh, Stanley. Stanley. I'm sorry, Pop. You shouldn't have swept dirt on his shoes. I know, especially in front of other people. I know. He's your boss. He pays your salary. His money helps put food on our dining table. I know, Pop. And we don't have money to waste. Believe me when I tell you that. I believe you, Pop. You were sick 3 days last year, and he only docked you a day and a half pay. Remember that? I know. I can see what you're getting at. I'll write the letter. I'll do it tonight. On the other hand, you did a courageous thing. You defended a fellow worker. Nobody else stood up for him, did they? I was the only one. That's something to be proud of. It was what you believed in. That's standing up for your principles. That's why I didn't want to write the letter. I knew you'd understand. The question is, can this family afford principles right now? It would make it hard, I know. See, Jack is awesome. This is a good father. Rather than just tell him no, give him the reasons why and make Stanley Stanley come to that realization himself. If he loses his job, they're totally in trouble. You're about to hear what's going to happen. Eugene's going to have to quit school and get a job, possibly. Listen, maybe even the mom. It would make it hard, I know. Not just on you and me, but on your mother, on Aunt Blanche, Nora, Lori, Stanley, Eugene. Eugene would have to get a part-time job. Time he should be using studying books to get himself somewhere. He wants to be a writer. He wants to go to college. Oh, I wish I could have sent you, Stanley. I've always been sick about that, Stanley. I like working, Pop. I really do. Listen, I made up my mind. I'm going to write the letter. I'm not saying you should. I know. It's my decision. I really want to write the letter. And how will your principals feel in the morning? My principals feel better already. You told me you were proud of what I did. That's all I really cared about. You know something, Stanley? I don't think there's much in college they could teach you that you don't already know. Guess who I learned it from? Thanks for talking to me, Pop. See you in the morning. You coming to bed? Jack, I think I'll sit here for a while. It's the only time of day I have a few minutes to myself. Stanley nods, then bounds up the stairs to his room. Jack sits back in his chair and closes his eyes. Stanley enters his room. Eugene is writing in his book of memoirs. Eugene, how did it go? Do you have to write the letter? Stanley, yeah. He gets out a pad and his fountain pen. Eugene, I knew that's what he'd make you do. He didn't make me do it. Be quiet, will you? I have to concentrate. What are you going to say? I don't know. You want to help me? You're good at those things. People used to get paid for that in the old days. Professional letter writers. Stanley indignant. I'm not paying you money. I don't want money. Then what do you want? Tell me what Nora looked like naked. How horny can you get? I don't know. What's the highest score? All right, when we finish the letter. I don't trust you. I want to get paid first. You know, you're a real sugar honey iced tea. Don't talk like that in front of me. I'm just a kid. What do you want to know? Everything. From the time you open the door. It happened so fast. That's okay. Tell it slow. Jesus, all right. I heard the shower running. I waited for it to stop. I gave a few seconds for the water to run off her body. Then I knew she'd be stepping out of the shower. Suddenly, I just opened the door. She was standing there on the bath mat, a towel on her head, and nothing else in the whole wide world. Eugene, slower. Don't go so fast. Stanley, her breasts were gorgeous, like two peaches hanging on the vine waiting to be plucked. Maybe nectarines, like two nectarines, all soft and pink and shining in the morning sun. I'm just going to finish by saying, OMG, people. Awful. Let's go. Curtain. That's the end of Act 1. We are now about to go into Act 2. We know everything we need to know. Everything has been opened up. We have all our conflicts laid out. You know, any good story needs good conflicts, good problems. So we have them all. Let's find out if those conflicts are resolved by the end of the story. We don't have much left. We're halfway through. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it's Wednesday, a week later, about 6:30 in the evening. Kate comes down the stairs carrying a tray of food. She looks a little haggard. All right, stop. Why is Kate coming downstairs carrying a tray of food? Why do people ever have food upstairs? And she looks haggard. She looks tired. Second of all, the reason why people have food upstairs is almost always because they're sick. Oh no, who's sick upstairs? Because look, it says Lori's lying on the sofa in the living room reading a book, so it's not her. Eugene is in the backyard sitting on the beach chair writing in his book of memoirs. Kate, Lori, you should see your mother. She looks gorgeous. Lori, I'm waiting for her grand entrance. How's Uncle Jack? Kate, he's resting. He ate a nice dinner. You can go up and see him later. She yells, Eugene, your father's resting. I don't want to hear any ball playing against the wall. So again, let's point out the irony. It's not okay for Eugene to play ball, but it's okay for Kate to yell. She's a hypocrite. Kate, I'm not playing. I'm writing. Kate, well, do it quietly. She goes into the kitchen. Okay, now, first of all, did she really just say write quietly? Eugene, to the audience. She wants me to write quietly. If that was the only sentence I published in my memoirs, it would be a bestseller. Everybody's been in a rotten mood around here lately. 3 days ago, Pop had a heart attack. All right, so this is interesting. First of all, second of all, whatever all it is, remember, he's giving us an aside, which means we're hearing his true thoughts, right? He's speaking directly to the audience. Actually, is he alone here? He's upstairs, so he's all alone, making this a soliloquy. Same thing, he's giving us his thoughts to the audience. But remember, when they're alone on stage, it's a soliloquy. When there's other characters on stage, it's an aside, and those characters can't hear. But this is really good. What's the purpose of the aside? In this play, he does it very well. The author, Neil Simon, he gives us something in my face. He gives us information that happened in the interim week between Act 1 and Act 2. So rather than see it in action, Eugene is just going to tell us, his friends in the audience. Listen. Oh, this is bad, by the way. Dad had a heart attack. It wasn't a major heart attack. It was sort of a warning. He passed out in the subway and a policeman had to bring him home. He was trying to make extra money driving a cab at nights and he just plain wore out. The doctor says he has to stay home for 2 or 3 weeks, but Pop won't listen to him. Mr. Jacobson has a brother-in-law who needs a job. He's filling in for Pop temporarily, but Pop's afraid that 3 weeks in bed could turn into permanently. Stanley appears coming home from work. He looks distraught. He half whispers to Eugene, all right, he looks distraught. That means he has a huge problem. Now, we know his other problem has been fixed. This is a week later. He wrote the letter. He's got his job back. Does he have another problem? And the answer to be, if you're in this family, of course you've got another problem. That's life, right? Let's continue. Stanley, I have to talk to you. Eugene, what's up? Not here, in our room. Don't tell anybody. What's the big secret? Will you shut up? Wait till I get upstairs, then follow me. He goes into the house. If it's about Nora, I'm not interested. To the audience, I forgot to tell you, I hate my cousin Nora. She's been real snotty to everybody lately. She doesn't say hello in the morning and eats her dinner up in her room. And she's been seeing this guy, Larry No Chin Clerman, every night. And she's not as pretty as I thought she was. So this is interesting. Now, we know why Nora's been cranky and acting mean to everybody. Why? Because Mom said no to her about the play, which further shows us that she's immature. If that's how you're going to act about it, you're going to be mean and rude to everybody in the family. And it's ironic and funny that Eugene falls out of his crush with her because she's being mean to him. It's very interesting. Let's continue. Kate walking out of the kitchen. Eugene, did you bring your father his paper? Eugene, I'm coming. My knee hurts. I fell down the stairs at school. We'll bring it up. Your father's waiting for it. She goes back into the kitchen. Now, time out. He just told his mom he fell down the stairs at school. Not a, are you okay? Let me see it. Oh my gosh, you need some ice. It was, hurry up, let's go. Eugene to the audience. If I just told her I lost both my hands in an accident, she'd say, go upstairs and wash your face with your feet. I guess she's sore because she and Pop can't go to the affair at the Commodore Hotel. They had, oh, that's right. Tonight was the night they were supposed to go to that big dance, the once-a-year dance. Oh, which means tonight is the night that Blanche is going on her date with Mr. Murphy from across the street. Let's continue. Pop can't go to the affair at the Commodore Hotel. They had Glenn Gray and his orchestra. By the way, just so you know, Glenn Gray and his orchestra, they were like, even I've heard of them. That's as famous as it got. That's actually pretty shameful. Not shameful. It is a shame that they couldn't go because, you know, that's a big deal. I feel sorry for her because she doesn't get to go out much. He gets up, starts toward the house, and she's nervous about Frank Murphy coming over to pick up Aunt Blanche. She's angry at the whole world. He enters the house. That's why she's making lima beans for dinner. Kate walks into the living room with a dish of nuts. Would you like a cashew, Lori? Lori, oh, thanks. She takes one. And a Brazil nut, too? She takes one. And one almond? She takes one. You must be starved. We're having dinner late tonight. We'll wait till your mother goes out. Eugene limps into the living room. Can I have some nuts, Mom? Kate, just one. It's for the company. So Lori just got to have 3. And her own son, she's like, no, just one. He takes one, starts upstairs. We're eating in the kitchen tonight. You and Stanley help with the dishes. He goes upstairs. Kate to Lori. You look all flushed. You don't have a fever, do you? She feels Lori's head. Remember, Eugene just limped by her and she didn't say a word. She feels Lori's head. Let me see your tongue. Lori shows her her tongue. It's all spotted. Lori, that's the cashew nut. Kate, don't you get sick on me too. If you're tired, I want you in bed. Lori, I have a little stomach cramp. Maybe I'm getting my ladies. Kate, your what? My ladies. That thing that Nora gets when she can't go in the water. Kate, oh, she's talking about her first period, menstruating for the first time. Kate, I don't think so. Not at your age. But if your stomach hurts real bad, you come and tell me. I made a nice tuna fish salad tonight. Call me when your mother comes down. She starts toward the kitchen. Lori, Aunt Kate, does Mama like Mr. Murphy? Kate, I don't know, darling. I don't think she knows him very well yet. Lori, do you like him? I never spoke to the man. You called him a Cossack. Are those the kind who don't like Jewish people? I'm sure Mr. Murphy likes your mother. Otherwise, he wouldn't be taking her out to dinner. Now, notice, she didn't say if she likes him, doesn't like him or not. She doesn't want to say it to the daughter or to the niece. Lori, if Mom married him, would we have to live in that dark house across the street with that creepy woman in the window? Kate, we're not up to that yet. Let's just get through Chardov's restaurant first. She goes into the kitchen. Eugene rushes into his room. Stanley is lying on his bed, hands under his bed. Laying on his bed, hands under his head, staring at the ceiling. Eugene, Pop's feeling better. He threw the newspaper at me because I didn't bring him the evening edition. Stanley sits up. Lock the door. Eugene locking the door. You look terrible. You were crying. Your eyes are all red. Now, think about this. This is an 18-and-a-half-year-old guy, and he's crying. He wasn't even crying when he lost his job. So this is even, according to Stanley, because he's crying. I mean, Eugene, according to Stanley, because he was crying, it's even worse than that. What was it? Eugene locking the door. You look terrible. You were crying. Your eyes are all red. Stanley, I'm in trouble, huge. Real trouble. He takes a single cigarette out of his shirt pocket, puts it in his mouth, and lights it with a match. When did you take up smoking? I smoke in the stockroom all the time. Don't let me see you do it. It's a bad habit. So how come you do it? I like it. What brand do you smoke? Lucky Strikes. I knew you would. That's the best brand. Swear to God, when I tell you, you'll never tell a living soul. Eugene raises his hand. I take an oath on the life of the entire New York Yankees. What happened? Stanley. He paces before he can speak. I lost my salary. Eugene. What? The entire $17. It's gone. I lost it. Where? In the subway? In a poker game. I lost it gambling. In a poker game? Will you shut up? You want to kill Pop right in his bedroom? Oh, that's right. Dad just had a heart attack. He's laying in bed right now. He can't have any stress. You go in there and tell him you just lost your week's salary. You know he's counting on that salary to pay for everything. Eugene, you never told me you gambled. We do it at lunch hour for pennies. I always won a dime, a quarter. It wasn't just luck. I was really good. $17? I mean, to us, ladies and gentlemen, $17 is like whatever. It's nothing. Yeah, barely go to a movie and buy some popcorn. I mean, no soda, that's for sure. But in those days, $17, that's his entire week's salary. So what is a week's salary today for somebody who works a 40-hour week? You know, $500, $1,000. So somewhere around there, we'll say $800. We'll meet in the middle somewhere. That's how much he just lost. It's a big deal. When Pop got sick, I thought I could make some extra money to help out. So I played in this game over in the stockroom at Florsheim Shoes. Boy, did I learn about poker. They cleaned me out in 20 minutes. What are you going to tell them? I don't know. If Pop wasn't sick, I would tell him the truth. Last week, he tells me how proud he is of me. He's driving a cab at nights, and I'm playing poker at Florsheim's. He puts his head down and starts to cry. Eugene, yeah, but suppose you won. Suppose you won $50. You just had bad luck, that's all. I had no chance against those guys. They were gamblers. They all wore black pointy shoes with clocks on their socks. If Pop dies, I'll hang myself, I swear. Eugene, don't talk like that. Pop isn't going to die. He ate 3 lamb chops tonight. Why don't you just say you lost the money? You had a hole in your pocket. You could tear a hole in your pocket. I already used that one. When? In November when I lost $5. He said to me, from now on, check your pockets every morning. Eugene, what happened to the $5? Did you gamble that too? Stanley, no, I gave it to a girl, you know, a pro. Eugene, a pro what? A prostitute? You went to one of those places? Holy sugar, honey, iced tea. Stanley, I'm not going to warn you about that word again. Eugene, is that what it costs? $5? Stanley, $2.50. I went with this guy I know. He still owes me. Eugene, and you never told me? What was she like? Was she pretty? How old was she? Stanley, don't start in with me, Eugene. Eugene, did she get completely naked or what? Stanley, furious. Every time I get in trouble, I have to tell you what a naked girl looks like? Do me a favor, Eugene. Go in the bathroom, whack off, and grow up by yourself. Eugene, don't get sore. If you were me, you'd ask the same questions. Stanley, well, I never had an older brother to teach me those things. I had to do it all on my own. You don't know how lucky you are to be the younger one. You don't have the responsibilities I do. You're still in school looking up girls' dresses on the staircase. I work plenty hard in school. Yeah? Well, let me see your report card. Today's the 1st of the month. I know you got it. I want to see your report card. Eugene, I don't have to show you my report card. You're not my father. Yes, I am. As long as Pop is sick, I'm the only one in the family who's working, ain't I? Really? Well, where's your salary this week, Pop? Now, first of all, that's hilarious. And look, it's going to make Stanley really mad. Look, grabs Eugene in anger. I hate you sometimes. You're nothing but a lousy sugar honey iced tea. I help you all the time, and you never help me without wanting something for it. I hate your disgusting guts. Eugene screaming. Not as much as I hate yours. You snore at night. You pick your toenails. You smell up the bathroom. When I go in there, I have to puke. Stanley screaming back. Give me your report card. Give it to me, goddammit, or I'll beat your face in. Eugene starts to cry. You want it? Here. He grabs it out of a book. Here's my lousy report card. You fudge. He falls on his bed crying, his face to the wall. Stanley sits on his own bed and reads the report card. There's a long silence. Stanley softly. 4 A's and a B. That's good. That's real good, Eugene. You're smart. I want you to go to college. I want you to be somebody important someday because I'm not. I'm no damn good. He's crying. I'm sorry I said those things to you. Eugene still faces the wall. It's too hard to look at Stan. Me too. I'm sorry too. This is interesting. Remember, we just had our forgiveness unit and whatnot. Look at that. As brothers, if they can't forgive each other for saying terrible things to each other, they're in a world of pain, right? They'll never be able to talk to each other again. Jack appears at the top of the stairs. He is in his pajamas, robe, and slippers. He seems very shaky. All right, so Uncle Jack is coming down, or Jack, their father, and he's very shaky. Remember, he just had his heart attack. He should not be getting out of bed. He holds onto the banister and slowly comes down the stairs. He looks around. He sees Lori and walks into the living room. His breath does not come easy. All right, so he's shaky and he has a hard time breathing. So this is serious, folks. He needs serious rest, no more stress. Lori sees him. Hi, Uncle Jack. Are you feeling better? Jack, little darling. Your mother's not down yet? Lori, no. I wanted to see her before she goes out. Kate comes out of the kitchen with a bowl of fruit. She sees Jack. Oh my God, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? You walking down the stairs? All right, so I think that's it for us, right? Bottom of page 85, ladies and gentlemen. Let's check again. Bottom of 85. We're good. That's the end of assignment number 6. Make sure you have all your questions answered. And we'll see you tomorrow for assignment number 7. Great job. Thank you.